So today we're going to do a quick restoration. I'm going to show you how to restore this corduroy, get the color back a little bit, and how to do some midsole touch-ups. This one's going to be pretty quick. So for those of you that are new, this is Vintage Kicks Gallery. Well guys, most of this stuff is dirt on here and I've actually never cleaned these before. So the first thing we're going to do is put in an adjustable shoe tree, and that's going to do a couple things. That's going to really maintain the shape while we clean it, as well as take out some of those wrinkles, because if we get this wet while the shape is maintained, by the time it dries, those wrinkles will be gone. So I'm actually going to set this as tight as it possibly can go. There we go. So what that did is take out those wrinkles right there, and once we get this all wet, we're going to be good to go. All right, next thing we're going to do is remove the surface stuff, because we don't want to basically get the mud into the corduroy. And if your shoelaces are messed up, definitely take them out. These are actually still pretty clean, so not too worried about it. All right, looks like I've made a mess of the table already. All right, next thing we're gonna need is Oxy Clean. So you can get this pretty much anywhere, but I'll link it below from Amazon. And we wanna soak basically the entire shoe, the entire upper. And what this is gonna do is help that corduroy clean, number one. It's gonna take out the stains. And number two, it's really gonna help to enhance the color. And that's always a problem with the Wotherspoon, is the color really fades out over time. So this is gonna help bring some of that back, as well as get out some of these nasty stains. Guys, I like to avoid cleaning the inside of these because of the material. So the material on these, if you clean it and you get, let's say, a little too abrasive, too wet, it dries really weird, it's just not worth it. These are already clean on the inside, so I'm not too worried. The next thing we're gonna need is a soft bristle brush. I cannot stress that enough. Do not use medium, do not use stiff. On the Wotherspoon, only use soft. If you use anything that's too stiff, it's gonna make it fray, and some people like the look, some people don't. I actually like that look. All right, let's start from the top, and generally I let Oxy Clean work its way in, but we're gonna do this kind of all together for this one. And whenever you're cleaning a shoe that, like this one, that got a lot of mud, make sure you go back to the water pretty regularly. And if this was let's say this thing was dirty from top to bottom, it wasn't just a situation of me being out hiking in the wrong shoes, we would definitely take the laces out and do the full tongue, but really the only stuff that got messed up on this, it was the exposed. So we're gonna keep going back to the water over and over and basically clean this like we would any other one, with an exception. We do not want to get too abrasive. So I'm barely putting any pressure on it, and I'm basically using the movement of the brush as opposed to the pressure. If I see any spots here, like surface stuff, I'm gonna go ahead and pull it off, because with these soft bristle brushes, probably not gonna pull it off by itself. The water is already getting dirty. So as usual, Angel's Easy Cleaner. It's my go-to cleaner right now, just because bang for your buck, I don't think you can top it, but any cleaner works, guys. Don't feel like you have to go one brand over another. Everything from Rejuvenator, Crep, Jason Mark, it's all good stuff. It just costs a little bit more. All right, one area that really gets messed up on the Wotherspoon is this back pull tab. For whatever reason, this thing just picks up dirt, picks up scuff, so spend a little bit more time on that. And again, keep going back to the water, and this stuff's nasty, nasty. All right, now that we have the uppers completely scrubbed down, we're gonna move on to the soles. Now the soles on these are almost an exact match to Angelus Cream. So for every little touch up on here, we're gonna use Angelus Cream. There's no need to put any duller or anything, because this is already, it has a sheen to it. So I'm going to use my magic eraser to begin with and basically just erase the scuffs. Alright, that's good to go, and now that the soap suds have had a chance to subside, you're going to notice that there's all kinds of what looks like balls of lint on the outside. You basically need to go over, pull those off by hand, throw them in the water. It's just what this corduroy does. If you let that dry all the way and then you try pulling them off, it's going to be a lot more difficult, so I do it while they're wet. And let's see if I can find a good one to show you right here. And that's just the lint. Got another one up here. Look at that. All right, I think I've got all of those off, but now it's time to give these a wipe down to dry them and then throw them on the actual dryer. A lot of you have been asking about my shoe dryer. I'll link it below, but basically what it does is it's a fancy boot dryer. You put the shoe on the rod, it heats it up, it blows air on it. It's pretty simple, but I'll link you below. All right, I'll see you guys when these are dry. All right, we're back. They're not fully dry, but we need to move on to the midsole. Check them out. Not bad, right? All right, for the midsole, we just have a touch up we've got to do to the back where it's missing paint altogether. We're going to use Angela's cream for this. It's a pretty much dead on match. This should be quick. Let's get started. Right, I've got just one little area in here, and probably the quickest paint job I've ever done. Other than that, midsole is looking good. So let's give this all a good chance to dry. Let's treat the uppers with the oil and we'll call it a day. I'll see you in a minute. Well guys, I fell asleep, so it's a new day and they're dry. I think it's time that we put a clear coat on the midsole repair that we did. So let's go ahead and spray that with the airbrush. We're just gonna use some Angela's finisher. And then I'm gonna grab my lighter and we're gonna set these things on fire. Well, kinda. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. Let's fill this. Don't need much, just a little bit. And all right, we only touched up this little back area, so that's the only place we need to airbrush a finish on, and that's all set. It's really, really easy on this one. I like this. These quick restorations are kind of fun. All right, so I'm gonna go grab the lighter, and like I said, we're gonna set these things on fire. I'll be back in a second. All right, last step we have here is we're gonna remove some of this frame, the loose stitching, etc., which, you know, I actually kind of like the look, but we are restoring these after all. And we're gonna do that with a lighter. So all you have to do is take your lighter, light it, and just run it over these frayed areas. And we don't wanna get rid of them entirely, but we do wanna cut down a lot of these little stragglers. So all we do, just drag this by, try not to set this whole thing on fire like we have before. All right guys, this is how we started, and and this is how we finish it. So check them out. I think we did a really good job here in not a lot of time. After all, these weren't too bad to begin with, but we were able to successfully and safely clean those uppers. We did some midsole repair, we got rid of the wrinkling and the creasing, and we brought these back to life. I can't wait to do this, start rocking these again, and I'm not gonna wear them outside in the wilderness anymore. So we'll be good. I'm curious what you guys think of these. I mean, are they overpriced at this point? I don't know. They are probably one of the best Air Maxes of all time, in my opinion, but the prices are pretty outrageous. And one thing that concerns me with these is, see that outsole? How are we gonna find a swap for that when these things get worn down? It's gonna be rough. So until then, either start saving for another pair or wear them sparingly. All right, guys, thanks a lot. I'll see you next time.